The legal standard is actually, were Chauvin's actions a substantial cause of George Floyd's death? Not the substantial cause, but a substantial cause.
Today is a big day in Derek Chauvin's murder trial. Closing arguments start in just a few hours, and we could find out whether or not Chauvin will be found guilty in the death of George Floyd.
And ahead of that verdict, there is a strong law enforcement presence in the Twin Cities. We'll show you how they're preparing for potential civil unrest.
News everywhere it happens. ABC 6 News Good Morning starts now.
Good morning, and thanks for starting this new work week with ABC 6 News Good Morning. It is 5 a.m., Monday, April 19th. I'm Rachel Wick.
And I'm Brianna Cook. And there's Jim Peterson.
Right
Proof
there.
that he took down the Christmas lights.
How many months later?
Hey, I did it. I told you I was going to do it on Friday.
Proud of you, Jim.
I did it yesterday. It's weird standing here next to me. That's why I didn't want to stand in front of me. That's even weirder right now.
I can see all the pores in your face
here.
Now, Jim.
You got to give the thumbs up.
Right.
There we go.
That's you. Yes.
There it is. There it is. I was safe. I was still holding onto the ladder. Don't worry, people. Don't worry. And more importantly, I got those lights down. Let's talk weather now. It was a very nice day yesterday to do that because look at this morning. Looking pretty cloudy, even mixing in some snow and rain at times with a cold front, heaviest of which is now south and out of the area. That's the good news. The bad news is we're going to keep the clouds all day with temperatures in the 30s and 40s. That's it. We should be near 60 for high, though, on April 19th.
Thank you, Jim. In just a few hours, we'll hear closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin trial.
The trial of the former Minneapolis police officer has captivated the nation for weeks. Our Samantha Boring is live in studio with more on what we can expect this morning. Samantha?
Brianna, Rachel, the defense and prosecution have each rested their cases, and this morning both sides are set to deliver their closing arguments. During 3 weeks of testimony, we heard from 45 witnesses, including George Floyd's loved ones, medical experts, and more than a dozen members of law enforcement. The prosecution is arguing that Chauvin's actions killed Floyd when he pinned him to the ground for over 9 minutes.
A healthy person subjected to what Mr. Floyd was subjected to would have died as a result of what he was subjected to.
But the defense claims it wasn't Chauvin's knee that ended Floyd's life. They argue it was his drug use and untreated heart condition.
Remember that all the defense has to present is reasonable doubt. They don't have to prove that it occurred a certain way. In fact, their own expert in this case says it's uncertain as to what the cause of death is.
Chauvin is facing 3 charges: second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. He has pleaded not guilty to all of those charges. After today's closing arguments, the 12 jurors will be sequestered until they have unanimous verdicts on each count. Back to you.
Thank you, Samantha. And when jurors begin deliberations later on today, they'll be given a packet of instructions. It acts as a guide for how jurors should apply the law.
Legal experts say those jury instructions are as important as the evidence they are considering. Reporter Kirsten Swanson explains why.
You would prefer need to as opposed to may have.
It's a carefully crafted set of instructions where entire legal concepts, even short phrases, are reviewed and removed.
It does not include the recognition of hindsight, the language regarding hindsight.
Argued over and added in.
The state proposed adding a sentence on superseding cause.
They'll make sure that every word is correct because instructions are really important.
Mary Moriarty is the former chief public defender in Hennepin County. While the judge has the ultimate say of what ends up in a set of jury instructions, she says it's common for attorneys to propose language that could be favorable to their theory of the case.
On use of force, the defense has proposed instructions that have language like 20/20 hindsight and split-second decisions.
But Moriarty expects jurors to zero in on the explanation of the murder and manslaughter charges.
The legal standard is actually, were Chauvin's actions a substantial cause of George Floyd's death? Not the substantial cause, but a substantial cause, which, the instruction is not exactly in plain English.
And there are other places in the document where she says jurors could struggle.
There are some confusing instructions. There just are, like the definition of a depraved mind.
But Moriarty explains the panel is largely on its own.
And one thing that has been terribly frustrating for jurors is they'll say, Judge, and it could happen in this case. Could you help us understand what depraved mind is? Could you give us more information? And then they'll come out and the judge will read the question and he will say, I can't give you any more information than what you already have. You are to rely on your interpretation of it.
That was Kirsten Swanson reporting. The jury will get to take the instructions with them into that deliberation room, along with all the exhibits introduced during the trial and their own notes. You can watch closing arguments live right here on ABC 6 starting at 9 a.m. You can also watch it live on our website. That's KAALTV.com.
In preparation for a verdict, the Ohio State Patrol is on its way to Minnesota. Ohio troopers confirm that Governor Tim Walz and the Minnesota State Patrol asked them for help. They're expected to head out sometime this week and will be stationed at key state facilities ahead of potential unrest. And tensions remain high in the Twin Cities. This morning, 2 National Guard soldiers are recovering from minor injuries after someone fired a gun at their vehicle early Sunday morning in North Minneapolis. Investigators say someone in an SUV fired several shots at the team that was working as part of Operation Safety Net. One soldier went to the hospital for an injury from shattered glass. The other Guard members' injuries are described as superficial. Meantime, in Burnsville, police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. It happened around 3 Sunday afternoon near Interstate 35W. Investigators say it started with the pursuit of a carjacking suspect. According to a police report, the suspect shot several rounds at officers before crashing the vehicle and continuing to shoot. Multiple officers fired back, hitting the suspect. He later died at the hospital. The BCA is leading that investigation. The officers involved have been placed on standard administrative leave.
People in Rochester are doing their part to help another Twin Cities community in need. Over the weekend, Little Thistle Brewing collected donations for students and families in Brooklyn Center. The brewery is no longer collecting items, but you can still donate money. It will be used to help families buy essentials, clothing, and childcare. If you would like to help, we have a link to the GoFundMe page for Brooklyn Center Community Schools right now on our website. That's KAALTV.com.
Good Monday morning, everybody. There's trying to look at the commute. We're looking at a building, though, with our 55th Street Northwest and Highway 52 traffic cam out there this morning. Again, we had a weak cold front come through late last night, right around the midnight hour, giving most of the area rain, but we did see some snowflakes at times mix in with the rain. And now that we're behind it, note what's taking place. A few pockets of blue showing up. Again, a few flurries will be possible this morning, followed by sprinkles for the afternoon. Nothing significant, though, for rain or snowfall as we go throughout the next 24 hours. And we will see some breaks in both. So it's not going to be a complete soaking or snowy day by any means. Just don't be surprised if you do see a few snowflakes and a few raindrops heading to and heading from work here today. Good morning to Hayfield, your hometown forecast. Aside from that chance, it is gray, breezy, and cool. We're talking 40s. That is it for highs today. Again, mostly rain, very light though. Any rain we see over the next 3 days, same with the snow chance, and we're keeping those 40s through Wednesday.
Thank you, Jim. Half of all adults in America have received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
That comes as the global death toll from the coronavirus hit 3 million over the weekend. Coming up, we'll have an update on the race to vaccinate, including the latest on the controversial Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And here's a look at where your ag markets will open this morning. We have your weather first, coming up at 5:10.